What if distraction was never really your problem? What if your phone is not the real issue? What if the real problem is that your actual life has not been designed to feel more interesting than the screen in your pocket? Most people try to solve distraction by fighting harder. They delete apps, turn on focus mode, promise themselves they will stop scrolling, and then a few hours later, they are right back where they started. Not because they are lazy, but because willpower is a weak strategy when your life has no direction, no novelty, and nothing exciting pulling your attention forward. So here's the reframe for this video. You do not have a distraction problem. You have an intentionality gap. And the solution is not to fight your phone harder. The solution is to make your real life so engaging, so intentional, and so genuinely fun that scrolling starts to feel less like an escape and more like an interruption. To do that, use the Real Life First method. It has 5 parts: morning ownership, micro-novelty, friction design, rest without input, and identity repetition. Let's start with part 1, morning ownership. Whoever owns your morning usually owns your day. When you wake up and immediately check your phone, you give the clearest version of your mind to someone else's agenda. Before you decide what matters, the internet decides for you. A message tells you what to worry about, a notification tells you what to react to, a feed tells you what to compare yourself to. And within minutes, your brain is trained to be reactive instead of intentional. The fix is simple. Before your phone gets your attention, let your real life get it first. Drink a glass of water. Step outside for 2 minutes. Write down one thing you want to create, one thing you want to experience, and one thing you want to finish today. You're not trying to build the perfect morning routine. You're simply telling your brain, I decide what this day is about before the world starts making demands on me. That small act changes the direction of your attention. Part 2 is micro-novelty. This is where most productivity advice gets boring. A lot of people think intentional living means strict routines and discipline, but intentional living without joy is just discipline with a better name. Your brain does not only want productivity, it wants aliveness, it wants curiosity, it wants something new to notice. That is why scrolling is so addictive. Every swipe gives your brain a tiny hit of novelty, a new image, a new opinion, a new problem, a new piece of drama. But digital novelty stimulates you without satisfying you. Real novelty wakes you up, so build small moments of real-world novelty into your day. Take a different route to a place you already go. Cook something you have never made before. Listen to a new kind of music while you clean. Learn 3 facts about something you walk past every day. Spend 15 minutes trying a skill you have always been curious about. These are not random activities. They are attention anchors. They give your brain something real to engage with instead of forcing it to search for stimulation on a screen. The goal is not to make every day dramatic. The goal is to make every day interesting enough that your brain remembers your life is happening here, not inside an app. Part 3 is friction design. This is where most people accidentally sabotage themselves. They say they want to read more, but their book is in another room and their phone is in their hand. They say they want to journal, but the notebook is buried in a drawer and social media is one tap away. They say they want better focus, but their environment is designed for distraction. Then they blame themselves for failing. But your environment is not neutral. It is constantly voting for a version of you. So stop relying on willpower and redesign the room. Put your phone across the room when you work. Keep a book where you normally scroll. Place a notebook on your desk before you go to sleep. Leave your walking shoes near the door. Put your planner somewhere visible. Make the action you want easier than the action you are trying to avoid, because in low-energy moments, convenience wins. Your job is simple. Make distraction slightly harder. Make intention slightly easier. That small difference can change your entire day. Part 4 is rest without input. Most people do not actually rest. They just switch from one kind of input to another. They finish working, open their phone, scroll for 10 minutes, and call it a break. But scrolling is not rest. It is more information, more opinions, more images, more comparison, more noise. That is why you can take a break and somehow come back feeling more tired.
Real rest gives your mind space. It lets your brain process what has already happened instead of stuffing more information into it. So try breaks that do not involve consuming anything. Walk outside for 3 minutes. Look out a window. Make tea or coffee and actually taste it. Sit quietly without reaching for something. Let your mind wander without trying to control it. At first, this may feel uncomfortable. That is because your brain is used to being entertained every time there's a blank space. But blank space is not the enemy. Blank space is where your attention recovers. When you learn to rest without input, you stop needing constant stimulation just to feel okay. Part 5 is identity repetition. This is the shift that makes everything stick. You cannot build an intentional life if you still see yourself as someone who is always distracted, because your habits follow your identity. If you believe you are a distracted person, every scroll feels normal, every wasted hour feels expected, every broken promise feels like proof. But every time you choose engagement over numbing, you cast a vote for a different identity. When you write before you scroll, you become someone who creates before consuming. When you walk instead of opening an app, you become someone who returns to the real world. When you design your environment instead of trusting willpower, you become someone who takes attention seriously. This is not about perfection. Some days will still get messy. Some evenings you will still lose 20 minutes to your phone and wonder how it happened. That is fine. The goal is not a flawless life. The goal is a life with enough texture, curiosity, and real enjoyment that distraction has to work harder for your attention, and most of the time it will lose. So remember the real life first method. Own your morning before the internet owns it. Add micro-novelty so your real life feels fresh. Use friction design so your environment supports your intentions. Take rest without input so your mind can recover. Repeat the identity of someone who is engaged with life. You do not need to overhaul everything today. Just start with one intentional moment, one glass of water before your phone, one short walk without headphones, one page of writing, one new route, one real conversation, one small decision that says, my actual life is worth showing up for. Because it is. And the more you act like your life is worth your attention, the more interesting it becomes. That is how you stop being distracted, not by hating your phone, not by forcing yourself into discipline, but by making your real life so intentional and alive that scrolling no longer feels like the best option in the room. Your life is the most interesting story available to you. Write it on purpose. And if you want more simple systems for building focus, discipline, and a life you do not need to escape from, subscribe to Day One Optimizer.